Hey. Aya and UC in the place to be. We're my convo queens from the front to the back. You know what I mean?
Hey, it is Convo Queens time. So,
Yes.
you guys, today we are talking about our motherhood and what it means to Black women. Because, of course, we know that ours come with a lot of other things that we have to navigate, being that we are Black women.
Yes, motherhood. Ooh, that is so deep. It runs through your veins. It nurtures the earth.
Mhm.
You supported a whole life. If you are a mother and you had birth, that is amazing. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So Aya, tell me, honey, what does it mean to be a mother to you?
I don't know. Why you want to start off with, I don't
On the
know,
hot
just
seat.
for some reason today is just like my nerves about this topic. I don't know why I'm so nervous. I haven't been nervous since like our very first pod, and that was like a month ago already. It's been time flies, but this one I'm jittery. I don't know if it's because it's like a touchy topic. We're talking about motherhood, moms, our experiences or whatever, but I don't know, being a mother is a huge responsibility. It's like sometimes you just sit back, especially I used to do this a lot when I was a new mom. You just sit back and you just think like, I'm somebody's mother. Like I am a parent. Like I done made a kid. Like I done made my own human. What am I doing? Like it's like the most intense feeling because you feel all of the emotions with being a mother. There's no rule book, as they always say. You don't get no rule book. Here's your rule book to motherhood. Congratulations, and they send you off. You have to kind of figure it out as you go, and you're gonna make mistakes. You worry all the time. It's a constant worry on if you're gonna mess this little human up. Like, am I gonna be a part of their trauma story? Probably. You probably are. I mean, I've come to that conclusion myself. I probably will be, but you try the best that you can. And then there's those perks and those joyous moments and the gratification of just watching this person bloom and become who they're going to become. So,
Hey, new mama on the line. I love to hear that.
yeah.
Okay, you know what? I just jumped right into the topic, y'all. And that was beautiful, Aya. But you know what? We didn't night them. We supposed to night them tonight and
Oh,
let them know. And let them know. Sidebar, rewind, pull up. We
yeah.
gotta go back. So tonight, ladies, we night you. Aya, let them know what their new names are.
You guys are our convo queens because we
Combo
needed to give
Queen.
you a name.
So you
Yeah.
guys will from now on be our convo queens. Okay. And you guys make convos for Black women. Yeah, we sitting here talking, but we feed off of your comments. And tonight I also want to let you guys know we have a special guest, Aisha. She's our convo for Black women queen who always coming on here and speaking her mind and sharing her knowledge with us. So I just want everybody to recognize Aisha here tonight with us.
Yeah, she is a panel regular. We need a lot of you guys to start, come on. I know a lot of people don't like being on. You can be just like Aisha, just have your little picture up there, your little initial up there, and you can still join in on the conversation. So,
Yes. Okay, so back to this part.
mhm.
So, what does it mean to be a mother to me since I put Aya on a hot seat? All right. So, I remember if you got more than one kid, and even if you got one kid, you always remember who made you a mother,
Yeah,
right?
need it.
Before you were a mother, it was just you. You
Mhm.
probably was looking at your mother like, why she do this and why she do that? And then when I became a mother, it was just an amazing experience. Like it was like a out of body experience. Like I remember when I have two boys. I had my older son. I remember just that first time when you realize that you are pregnant, like you are really pregnant. You took that test and you are
Mhm.
pregnant. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yes.
In there.
And then I was like, then you just watch your belly grow
Mm,
and grow and grow. And like I don't even think you really realize, like I know you're hungry, like you're feeling different, like your body is no longer your own. But then but then when you have that when you on that bed in that hospital and it's showtime,
mm,
then
Ooh.
you realize, wow, how freaking amazing
mhm.
this whole process is. How you kept a human being alive in your body. So when I think about motherhood, I think about a miracle.
Yeah.
A miracle, if you're spiritual, a miracle gift from God. If you are scientific, a scientific miracle. Like I mean, it's just a miracle when you think about how we produce another human. So motherhood is deep for me, and I'm just scratching the surface, but it definitely changes your life. You no longer live for just yourself, you live for others.
Right.
Yes, Convo Queen. Look, she put her crown on already. I love it.
That part.
I want to say that I agree with both of you. For me, both my children were surprises. If just to say, my daughter, I went to the doctor because I was having issues with like asthma, bronchitis, or whatever, and they were like, "Well, before we give you any more steroids, we want to go ahead and just take a pregnancy test." And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not pregnant." At that
Mm,
time, I had been with my husband for 3 years, and we had never had protected sex, and I had, gotten pregnant. So I just figured it was because of all of the weed smoking kept his sperm count low, whatever. Well, one particular winter, we had like 21 inches of snow, so we was stuck in the house, and she was born, or she was conceived.
mm,
Anyway, I just want to add, you that's the first time ever in life that I immediately fell in unconditional love with
mm,
someone,
Mm.
and I had no idea what they looked like, how they would be, and it was just like you can't really control that, and it's like you're at their whim, this little small little human, and you're up, you're tired, you go crazy, but it's all worth it because they look for you, they run to you when school's out. Mommy, you know how wonderful that sound feels? Oh, I
mm.
just love it. We have
Yes.
a really, you know, women in general, we have a greater responsibility because we shape the human race, you know, the way we, raise our children and how we put them out into the world. It's great responsibility.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you see, it's a thankless job because
Mm.
Hmm.
we
Girl,
do
did
it
you read my
without
mind?
we do it without the accolades, sometimes without the
Hmm.
acknowledgement, without the gratitude, without a thank you. Especially you ain't hearing thank you from the little kid. Like they're the
Sure
babies.
won't.
Like we do it's a thankless job. We just do it. So
And with great blessings comes great responsibility.
mm,
Yes.
Like you you can give your child the greatest experience or you can give your child mommy issues for the rest of their life.
mm,
Like, I mean, it is really it is really a thankless job. Yes, we are doing this podcast in honor of Mother's Day that's coming up this weekend. But to be honest, the way I look at Mother's Day is that Mother's Day is every day.
yes.
Every day you are on. You are a mother. You are a mother when your child is probably 30 years old. I still
Hmm.
call my mother. Okay. Like I'm like,
Hmm.
mom, so it is a job that never ends. It really never ends. If you are indeed a mother, it just never ends. And it is a beautiful experience. And it is also a painful experience and physically and emotionally. You know what I'm saying? Like you have days when you feel amazing, and you will have days when you feel like a failure.
Mhm.
Oh, definitely. Question yourself, doubting yourself, beating yourself
Am I
up,
doing this right?
guilty, right? You feel guilt, you feel all of those things.
But at the end of the day, when you look down at that little face, or you look at that grown woman or that grown man, however, whatever age your child is, you realize that it is a roller coaster ride, and nobody has the right answer. We do know what you have to do. You have to feed them, you have to put a roof over their head, and you have to give them an education. We know that those are the things that you have to do, and you have to nurture. But some people don't do that. But we know the three things you have to do. But as mothers, you still have to go above and beyond, even when you sick. When you
Mhm.
got a day to be sick?
No days
Never.
off. No days off. No days off. You are superwoman, child.
Yes, and even in the dynamic, there are some awesome fathers out here.
Mhm.
Yes.
Kudos to them. However, even when you're in relationships or marriages, you still realize that a lot of the work sometimes falls on the mother.
Yours. Here, it's yours. It's yours. I was looking at a post. It was this post I seen, and it was like, you know how people always say that term, or we used to always hear that phrase growing up or coming up, that it takes a village. So
To
they
raise
was,
a child.
it was, yeah,
Mhm.
to raise a child. They was talking about that term, and they was just like, who do y'all think they were talking about? Who was the village?
Mm. Grandma.
The mamas, right? Granny, big granny, big mama, like your mother, like the women were basically the village. When they say it takes a village, eh, they're referring to the women.
And I mean, I have seen dynamics where there is some good granddaddies out here too. Now they'll pick up some slack too. You know what I'm saying? But really, you're right. The village was the women. And even now, we all have somebody who we call on to help us somewhere. Like if it's a neighbor, or even if you don't have the family support system, you have somebody that is supporting you, even if it's just a listening ear when you want to talk about what's going on with your children. Because we all know when they're little, they idolize you, and you can do nothing wrong
Mhm.
when they're little. Them teenagers,
Yeah,
that's a whole different story
enjoy
now.
the kids. When you have the little ones, oh, enjoy having little ones, because the little ones, they the ones. It's just like that's when they steal your heart, and they're. I mean, little ones is hard. Like they're busy. I would say they're busy, so you have to have a
Crying.
lot of energy. You always have to tend to their needs, and then as they get older, of course, they don't need you as much, and you get a
Right.
little bit more freedom. But then you still miss when they were the little ones, and because they do the cutest things, and they say the cutest things, and then they're learning all this stuff, and it's like brand new to them, so they're so happy, and you're just so excited to see them learn these new things or a new word or doing something. They don't leave you alone. You are there. You're still their entire world, but they don't leave you alone. Okay. Like you get stalked to the bathroom, you get stalked to the kitchen, you get stalked to the laundry, you getting stalked everywhere around that house. One thing that I don't miss though about having little ones is sneaking in my bed. Like, I'm trying to wing you, like, this is your area. This is your room. And then you would have to take them and walk them back to this is your bed. You lay right there, sneaking in your room and waking you up at the crack of dawn every morning like clockwork. Are you up?
I'm hungry. I'm
Well,
I
hungry.
don't miss that.
Get up.
Yeah, that's the
I
part.
know my son, he's like, he says this thing now. I'm so hungry right now. I'm so hungry. I'm like, are you really hungry?
They
No.
always hungry.
He's sending you a message.
So how is it for you, UC? Because you have two um older or teenage boys, right?
Well, no, I have a big old gap. I have a teenager, and then I have a little one. So right now,
Oh,
15 and 4. He'll be
oh,
5 soon.
you and I have a lot more in common. My daughter is 22 and my son is 3. Okay.
Mm.
Ooh, girl, that's a yeah. Well, anyway, I got a big gap and I have boys. So I would say that, you know, I thought that I guess my little one, he was an only child for a long time. I never wanted to have him be an only child for several reasons. Like,
Mhm.
I wanted him to have a sibling because I feel like that teaches you something when you have another sibling. I also wanted, you never know how that one child gonna turn out. They might put you in a nursing home or something like, you know what I'm saying? You want to have a backup plan, another one. You know what
Mm-mm.
It's
I'm saying?
true. I thought about
I'm
that.
serious
I was
though.
like,
I'm
the
like
older one
joking,
might
but I'm
put me
not.
in a nursing home, but not the little boy. He won't put me in a nursing home.
Yeah, you can't put all your eggs in one basket with just one
Yes,
child. And then that's a big burden to put on one child,
Well,
for
they were the
two parents in my case. So maybe one to have dad and one to have me. You know what I'm saying?
trio.
I don't know. But they still fight. Even though they got that much big of a gap in between them. Like the little one, like does not see him like he sees him as a kid. Like he still
Yeah.
knows he is a kid. And so because I have an older boy, he never likes to babysit. I was like, oh, maybe if it was an older daughter, she would like to babysit. But
nope.
like,
She
Mm.
doesn't
oh,
like
okay,
to
no.
babysit.
Yeah.
They
So
forget that they were once that age. And then, like you said, for y'all, anyways, they was alone. So they did not have to do all
Share.
that.
mhm.
Like,
My son literally like up until like 7, he was like, I want a sibling. Then he got like by the time it was like 9, he was like, what? You pregnant? Why
yeah,
would you
like,
do that?
wait. Mm-mm.
No,
I
I'm
changed
fine by
my mind.
myself. I'm like, what's too late?
Yeah.
Baby coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I have boys. I wasn't blessed to have a girl. Maybe, it's not in the car because the shop is closed. So,
I always wanted a boy, though.
So
But I,
you got to be careful what you wish for, Aya, because when I was like, I just really wanted a boy,
mm-mm.
and I didn't get him right away. I got him 7 years later. I'm like, okay, I wasn't planning on this, but okay, let's just go do this thing again. But yeah, you might get that boy. You say you always
No, no, I'm done.
oh
That's true.
oh, the shop is closed.
Yeah, that's a wrap now, child. But I always did want a boy, but I don't know now. Like I can't say which one would have been easier to raise. Of course, in my mind, I think girls are harder than boys. But then in y'all minds, y'all might say, "Oh no, it's the boys." But
well for me, my daughter was easier in the younger years. It was when she became a teenager
mm,
is when the crap hit the fan. Right now, my son is a daredevil and he's give me little tiny strokes all the time. But like,
he
I don't
tested.
know how he's gonna be. I don't know yet. Maybe he'll be a chill individual. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, but speaking on before we move on,
Well, before we go there, I want to say something about the boys.
yeah,
Like my older son, like, oh my gosh, he was an angel. Like he was just so
mm,
great. Like he wasn't rambunctious or anything. But
no,
then he turned into a teenager.
Ooh,
And I was like, who is this?
I think
It's
that's
like
pretty
a
much the same.
360. And I was just like, who is like, and now like, I don't know. I don't think teenagers like moms too much at some
It's the
point. Like,
teenage angst stage. Like I'll be always trying to wonder, like, was I like this? Like it's the angst. It's like everything with them is like moody.
an
Like
issue. Yeah.
they just moody.
yeah, you'd be like, what's wrong? They just coming from school like,
Like
and
We
you like,
always
you okay?
they moody.
we
Uh-uh.
always joke, me and my daughter. I was like, yeah, remember when you went through that emo phase for like 5.5, 6 years? Like, okay.
Oh my god, yes, that stage. Them your teenagers is definitely, I think, the most challenging to raise is the
And then
teen.
And then all of a sudden you become this person, you don't know how it is and you don't know what happened and you like you've never done anything in your life. They
Because you're
everything is
old.
new. You're old, you know
Mhm.
nothing.
Yeah, you don't know anything. You know nothing. Everything is the end of the world to them too. It's like,
Yes. Oh my
and
God,
I'd
it's
be
the
like,
end.
I assure you, I was here. It's not like it is not the end. Oh my God, you don't understand everything. That's teenagers. So I think they neck and neck on that one, boys and girls, because I'm going through it too. I am not okay with having a teenager.
Well, I know we got some combo queens in the chat and that I know got some brand new smell good right out the
Oh,
hospital
fresh
baby.
babies. They got fresh
Baby.
babies to
Fresh
sniff.
baby. Oh, they so precious when they not screaming and hollering and pooping when
And
they
they
And
just
little.
lay,
throwing up, smelling.
they just laying there looking peaceful, waiting for you to tend to their beck and call.
So precious. That's the life. Mm.
Ain't it? That's the life.
All
Okay,
right,
but
Io.
speaking of newbies, and that is a perfect segue. Speaking of the newbies and new babies, like how was it for your pregnancy? I know I was a young mom, so when I was pregnant with my first daughter, I was sick. I had hyperemesis, and basically the short version of that is I was allergic to being pregnant.
Oh,
Yeah, cuddling right now. Ah, we jealous.
I don't know. I just want to hold the baby smelling and get right back.
Well, yeah, I was allergic to being pregnant, and that was like horrible because it's like you had morning sickness every minute of the day, and they was worried about me being dehydrated and talks of like a nurse having to come over with the IV. I'm like 17. This is like overwhelming. Like
Yeah.
I was this big, but with a big old like boom, but this skinny. It was just horrible. But when I think about the care that I received, I mean, my doctors definitely did their job. They listened to me, but I do know, of course, a lot of times, oftentimes, with Black women, we don't receive the proper health care when we're pregnant, or they just, it's this disbelief that what we're telling you, we're not actually feeling or going through. Um, the mortality rates for Black women, maternity is high, it's staggering. So this article just came out in February and it was 55 deaths per 1,000 births.
Mm.
That's high.
That is atrocious. That's very high.
Well, they say the closest you come to death as a woman is in childbirth.
Mhm. Mhm.
My
And
last, I'm sorry, go ahead, you see.
no, no, no. I was just gonna say that and Black women have a high mortality rate. Like we die a lot in childbirth.
Right.
I had
But
two, I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I
no, because you
apologize.
was next. Aisha, go ahead.
Both my pregnancies were, um, I guess high risk. They both came early,
Mm,
6 weeks, to 8 weeks early. Um, I had preeclampsia, and then I had gestational diabetes with my son.
Mm. Jeez.
Um, the fluid, it was so with my daughter, they were like, I stayed in the hospital for 6 days actually, and the insurance was great. They treated me wonderful.
mhm,
This was at a hospital in Chicago. Um, but they were like, you have to get up and walk and, do all the things to be discharged, right? So I had so much fluid, guys, that I could literally hear the fluid swoosh in
mhm,
my legs as I took steps.
Mm.
And I had to walk like that for like a day so I could start to release that fluid. So that was, even though that happened and I was scared, I wanted to do it again. You know,
mhm,
she was definitely worth it. But life happened and I didn't just get, I should say this. I've been on birth control for like a small amount of my childbearing years. But, if it didn't happen, it didn't happen. But my son came,
mhm,
and like I said, he was a surprise, and I had the preeclampsia. and the gestational diabetes where I had to start sticking myself. And um, my blood pressure was like 200 over 100. And so they had to emergently take him away, take him out via C-section. I had both C-sections, okay?
Mhm.
But that one was so horrific that I just felt like there was trauma behind that. I could hear the doctors saying I guess they thought I was out. Oh, she has an angry uterus. I want to know what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. Did
What?
they explain like
Oh,
did
they
they
thought you was knocked out and you couldn't hear them
explain?
talking.
And so once I woke up, I looked them dead in the eyes. I was like, I want to know what an angry uterus is. And they were quiet and stone faced. This was in here in Iowa. So
Mhm.
like you said,
Mm.
the care was different. Um, I had to literally talk to the nurse manager and get my nurse written up because I asked her, I was like, I need the photographer to come and take pictures before we leave. And she just was, you know how you get that feeling like someone doesn't particularly care or doesn't respect you. And I'm like, you're gonna do your job and I'm gonna make you do your job. Oh, you don't want to do your job? Well, I'm gonna give you a problem.
Right.
I don't care. And so anyway, she messed it up where we left before we couldn't get any pictures or whatever. But that was a horrible experience. And I'm a queen of writing reports and
Mhm.
what you call white lady fingers and uh, you know, putting my concerns down, comments. I don't care. It was a horrible experience. And I don't want to do it again because when I had something to gauge, my first experience was wonderful. They cared for you deeply, and you could tell by the way the nurses were there. Um, just, it was horrible. It was just a horrible, scary experience. My son came out blue. It was, but he's here. He's healthy. He's smart as a whip. You guys, if you ever get a chance to meet him, he'll have you cracking up because he's something else.
Mhm.
Very intelligent. He knows the moves. It's just it was no it like he didn't lose any oxygen, but it was a very traumatic delivery. Is all I'm saying. So
Yeah, I couldn't
I'm just
imagine.
glad he's here.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a story, Aisha. I'm
Hmm.
so glad that you made it through all of that.
Mhm.
Girl, me too. I was on a magnesium pump or IV for like 24 hours because my blood pressure was so high.
Mm.
I definitely need to do more when it comes to our health and like y'all know these numbers. I don't know if it's like the the stereotype attached to, black women don't feel pain like the rest of us because we're
Right, they had that in
right.
articles that black women, black people, they don't feel that. They don't
Yeah.
think we feel pain.
And like we're people. We're people just like you. We feel the same type of pain,
Mhm.
and over the history, we know how they experimented on us and ran tests and they'll use us as guinea pigs and things like that. But we're here now and the the mortality rate, that is ridiculous to be
Ridiculous.
in this day and age. Serena just told her story, Serena Williams, and how
Mhm.
she had like a blood clot after her C-section and it went to her lungs. Like that is terrifying. Terrifying.
Do you realize I'm telling you, as a respiratory therapist, if that thing would have burst, she would have died instantly.
Mm.
Mm,
My thing is also that a lot of us black women don't know that, you know, a lot of these doctors intervene like
mm,
with your birth when they don't need to do that. Like
mm,
they start, giving you all types of things to, hurry you along,
mm,
because they want to. I had read an article and there was like this birthing hospital here and they have a high C-section rate and a high
mm,
mortality rate at that.
So yeah, something ain't right.
Yeah, and it's like you almost, I read and it was like, these doctors, they will rush along these C-sections, schedule them around their schedules to just get you out the way. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people realize you could go to the hospital too early. And then they
Right.
start intervening with your pregnancy, giving you Pitocin, giving you all these different pills, all types of. And then I just had a family member that had a baby, and they were like doing all types of different stuff that I never heard of. Like every time, every
Right.
generation that they have a new baby, it's like all this new stuff that they're
New
doing.
stuff.
Now, I understand, sometimes you have things that you have to do to, get a baby out. Like, you don't want babies to go overdue, because then, I heard a story of a friend of a friend, um, decided she wanted to go to this birthing center in a house and have water births and
Yeah.
whatever, no doctors involved. And they let her go overdue, and the baby passed the meconium poop inside of her.
Oh,
Oh.
jeez.
Oh.
And she was air vac to the hospital anyway. So she should have just went and had the baby in the hospital. And it was a really sad story, because I think the baby had ended up having birth defects and everything from
Mm.
ingesting the poop inside
Meconium.
of the womb. Yeah, the meconium inside the womb. Like, it's poisonous. Like, our waste is poisonous to anyone. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's like, let me share a little bit about my birth story, since you guys share. Well, I remember Aya's first birth story because I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um, we were young back then. She got pregnant. I supported her. I said, "You're gonna have this baby." She's like, "I'm gonna have this baby." And so I said, "Okay." And we chilled her whole pregnancy, and then she made it through the whole pregnancy. She was sick a lot. And then I remember she just would sit in her room, because we used to be outside. Okay, we used to be outside, but that sat us down. That sat her down. So she was at home, and then finally she had the baby. And I remember when I was in the room and I was watching her give birth, I was so amazed. I had never seen anything like that. Like, I remember, because she had a vaginal birth. And I remember seeing the baby's head come out. I was like, oh my God. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, my friend is so strong. Like, I was like, wow. And she did it like a G. Like, because she's already like a quiet person. And I don't even remember her yelling or screaming or anything. It's like she just handled what she had to do. So it made me think of my first birth story. And I had one of my friends there when I had my birth. And I had a midwife for my first son. And when I went in there, I remember I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have this baby. And of course, they intervened when they had no reason to intervene. They
Mm.
started giving me Pitocin. Oh, well, you're here. We might as well rush this birth along. They gave me Pitocin. And then Pitocin is known to make the contractions faster and harder. So, of
Mm-hmm.
course, um, they were like, you don't have to do this the natural way. Get an epidural.
Mm-hmm.
So then they gave me epidural. I think you had one for your first birth too, Aya,
Mm-hmm.
didn't you? Yeah. So they were like, women no longer have to feel the pain of childbirth. You can just get these drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay. At the time when I had my child, I think I was 21, 22. I was like, I had just graduated from college, and like I ended up, having my son. And I sat there, got the epidural, and I couldn't even feel my legs. I
Yeah.
couldn't really feel any. It was like a numb, like you could feel something was going on down there. But what I later learned was like, yeah, you get the epidural and all that, but it slows down the childbirth because of the numbing and all of that. The Pitocin leads you into getting pain medicine because the contractions are coming so hard. And if I had have known to just sit my behind at home a
Mm-hmm.
little bit longer, my birth probably would have been okay. And fast forward to the second child. The second child, I knew better. I was like, I'm not going to no hospital. First of all, the boy
Yeah.
tried to come on my birthday. And I was like, absolutely not. I will not be in the
Mm-mm.
hospital on my birthday. Are you kidding me? So, but I did everything you not supposed to do if you're not trying to have a baby. Like, I think I went into like this Creole Cajun restaurant, ate some spicy food, something like etouffee or something like that. Then I left from there, was walking all through the whole Walmart. Then I had the nerve to come home and take a bath. Okay, so that was all the things you're not supposed to do. So then after that, I'm just sitting there. My ex-husband at the time was there. I'm like, he like, well, I'm going to work. I'm like, are you going to go to work? I'm like, I don't know. I'm feeling weird. I called. She's like, well, did you pass the mucus plug? I'm like, no. So then I'm laying in the bed. All the water just breaking my bed. I'm like, you better come back here because I'm having a baby. So he comes back and we riding like now here in this Atlanta metro area. So we going all the way up. I had him at Atlanta Medical Center.
Mm-hmm.
So we go up there and like I get out the car and I'm like, hello. It's like abandoned in the hospital. I don't know where anybody was at.
Yeah, you was not an emergency.
Right? So I'm leaking. I'm sorry, this graphic. Okay.
No, go ahead.
If you're not 18, you might want to exit the building or something. But it was leaking all on the floor and everything. Like literally, it was like a trail. Like I'm like, hello, somebody help me. And so somebody comes from around the corner somewhere. And they're like, oh, she having a baby. And then all of a sudden they want to grab a wheelchair and come get me. So then I go up there and my doctor, like, I guess they tell her, okay, she's here. And I'm like in there and I'm like, oh, I need something. And then like my doctor's nowhere to be, there's traffic and who knows? I don't know. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, where is she? I need medicine. Get up. They're like, no, you can't get up. I'm like, what? They told me I was gonna be walking, I could take a shower. Like, no, the heartbeat of the baby. So they strapped me down to the bed with all these monitors and I can't move. And the next thing I know, I'm like, get me a heating pad or something. I'm like, give me some drugs. She's like, you 9 centimeters dilated. You're not getting nothing but a hand. Put your hand here and push. 2 hours. That baby was here.
Yeah.
Wow. That recovery was A1 though, wasn't it?
It was A1. I was up. My sister came to visit me. Girl, she's like, okay, I'm gonna come down here because she missed the birth. The boy came so fast. And so my doctor, she finally runs up there. I had the hospitalist, right? It's the person who's in the emergency room, had to come up and deliver my baby. This man had to be all the way back behind to the wall back there. It was like this old mean black nurse. And I'm like, somebody hold my hand. She's like, ain't nobody holding your hand, girl. You better hold on to the side of this thing and push.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But listen, I know it sounds crazy, but she was like Big Mama who was motivating you. Like, girl, you better get in here and mash these potatoes. Like, so I was like, oh my gosh. So she was motivating though, because she got the baby out. She's like, this baby heart rate is dropping and I need you to push this baby out. And so I pushed it, and like the doctor didn't do anything. He was scared.
He was back there. Was he new?
He was like, he was in the emergency room. He ain't deliver no babies. I guess they ready for anything. But he was the hospitalist, and the hospitalist is the one. I mean, I should probably know. It's the person whoever in the emergency room, right?
Right. They just they doctors for the hospital. They don't have a specialty.
Yeah. So he was scared of baby. Like he didn't even. Before. I don't know. He didn't act like he's seen it before. Like the man looked like he was about to pass out. And then when the baby came out, he finally stepped up. The nurses did all the work, by the way. The nurses did all the work. We didn't even need him, to be honest. So then he finally steps up and he just hurries up and he didn't even ask for my ex-husband to cut the cord. And he's like, hurry up and cut the cord. And he just and gave the nurse got the baby and was just like, he was way over there somewhere. The man was scared.
He was scared.
But
he didn't want to pass out, seeing that coochie open. I mean, I gotta be careful.
He was getting nauseous.
He looked like he was scared that it was like this young, Asian doctor, and he just was like, he looked traumatized.
Yeah, you traumatized.
I don't know if he had just got out of his fellowship or residency or something.
Probably.
He went home and had a story to tell that night.
I was like, oh my God, I delivered my first baby. It was on accident. Like, I was so scared. So anyways, I could hear them, my son was crying and everything. And then finally my doctor comes storming, girl, why you didn't tell me you had fast babies? Let me get this placenta out of you. I was so mad at her. I was like,
doctors, I swear, they have, especially OBGYNs, labor and delivery, they have the easiest job, especially when it comes to that. Because they just be at home chilling. And then they call you up, boop, boop, boop. Yeah, she's about ready to go. And they be like, okay, I'm coming. And they just come and catch the baby. And here you go. All right, I'm out. Bye. See?
Right.
I was so mad because then later on, but Aya, how about later on I saw her on a Ford commercial. I'm like, so that's what you was doing. You doing commercials and stuff. Only in Atlanta would your OBGYN be on a commercial the next day.
That is a hot mess.
Yeah. Anyway, he's
That's
here.
those are some interesting.
But Aisha, you're right. After my recovery was so much better after the second baby, natural. I didn't rip nothing. It's like my sister came down here. We even like I was like, oh my gosh, you can't really do nothing. I had a baby, but girl, we was at what was the 2 Chainz trap house? We had went over there and saw the trap house and everything. We was riding all in Buckhead. I was right back there with the baby. I was
Oh
good.
wow.
Well, now they discharge you fast as hell. Anyways, you be like out after the next day.
Yeah, they like we
They be
ain't
like,
got
all
time
right,
for that.
you can go home.
You're right, because with Lucas, with my son, I was only in the hospital for 3 days.
Mm.
With my,
You had a C-section? They kick you out in 3 days?
that's
They
fast.
kicked me out real quick. I was like, okay.
3 days.
And I worked there too, which was the horrible part about it.
Wow. They was like kick you out, but when you come back to work.
Like you look like you can come back now.
Like,
Right.
girl, just go pass it up. Give her a
Oh
couple
my
of little perk
god.
sets. She'll be all right.
Actually, they
Yeah.
they do give you the Percocet, but I just stuck with the 800s, and because I didn't want to be too drowsy, and I was breastfeeding too. So,
Mm.
And
I was a breastfeeder. Like the first son, only 3 months, because they gave him nipple confusion up in New York because they had nurseries and popped the thermometer. I mean, pacifier in his mouth immediately. But down here in Georgia, there was no nursery. You had your baby 24/7 as soon as it came out, and like I nursed him for 11 months.
hmm
That's a long time.
It was.
Well, the first two, I didn't nurse them for that long, especially not the first one. But that last one, I think and it's true too. Like the longer you nurse, the more attached to you they are. Cause like
Yeah.
I think I nursed her for like 2 years, and I was trying to
Oh
wean her
wow.
off. I was trying to wean her off. She was drinking milk too, but I was trying to wean her off. And then finally, she just got disinterested her own self and was just like, I'm good. Like, but yeah, that's a long time, and she is like the most attached kid.
Yeah, my little one is so attached. A lot of women, some women find breastfeeding, they don't like it or they think I loved breastfeeding. Like it was just like such a bonding experience for me
That
personally.
connection.
Yeah, it
yeah,
was. I loved it.
me too.
Yeah, and
My
then
son, I stopped this as soon as he got teeth because he's
oh,
kind of a little ornery little guy. He used to bite me, and I'd be like, okay,
Ooh.
stop that.
You
Then
got
I
TV,
just
you got to
started
go.
exclude.
did he used to bite you when he got mad
Uh-huh.
or
And
frustrated?
then one time he bit me and smiled. I was like, you little.
Yeah, them
And
babies.
then, so listen, the other day, he's still kind of like a little boob guy because he was like, Mom, what's this? You know what it is, and go away. Stop. You're not no more
Hmm.
because he was drinking
Yeah.
straight from the cup.
Yeah, I definitely think it's important for a Black woman to breastfeed. We definitely need more breastfeeders on the team.
Well, he came early, and so that was one of the main reasons
Yeah.
I wanted to, because he was 4 pounds,
Oh, he was so tiny.
Oh.
so tiny. He
Mm.
looked like a.
Well,
Hmm?
no, go ahead.
He was just tiny, and I had to, I ate a lot of healthy fats, and as soon as I could, I just, pumped him, and then I would give him. I they say you wait for till the baby's 4 months to give them cereal,
Mm.
but I would give him cereal right before bed so that he could one stay asleep longer,
Mm.
and um that food overnight, will sit and he plumped up like a little nice little butterball. So,
You
Hmm.
know what I didn't like about I breastfed. I was almost gonna be a little advocate or whatever at the WIC office because I was
hmm
there so often. But when I was when I had my last daughter, I was living in Atlanta, and those doctors are like so old school. My doctor, she was this black old lady, their pediatrician. I half listened to what she was telling me, by the way, because I was just like, I'm not following that. But She was always trying to tell me like, yeah, I need to see a little bit more weight on her. She's like, Mel, she's a little bit on the lower end of the, the chart and all this stuff. And like, you should put some cereal in the bottom. Like, she telling me all these old homeschool
They
ways.
do.
No, I'm not doing that. Like, breastfed babies are very different than formula fed babies. Your
I
body
agree.
going to lie to you. That baby is getting the right amount at the right times, and that's it. That's the supply. That's the supply for the day, and your baby is getting what they need. So I never paid attention to what she was telling me to put cereal in the bottle, baby on 2 months. Like, she just put some cereal in. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not. Them doctors down there is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that because it is so many black doctors down here, but they are like that. They
They
old school.
still
They be
have
like,
they method
put a little bit of that
outside of
baby stuff. Da, da, da."
medicine. It's like,
They got.
ignore the medicine. This is how we did it back home.
I
No.
mean, I didn't really like the healthcare down here, and I was like really disappointed with that. Being that there's so many black doctors down here, I don't understand that, but that's a whole different scenario. But what I was gonna say was, when it does come to breastfeeding, I did experience some shaming in the black community when I was breastfeeding.
Because we sexualize it.
Yeah, like I was going, like I think I was visiting my ex husband's, like or his family house, and like one of the girls, I don't care if they watching this either. One of the ladies over there was like, I'm just gonna let you know, make sure you don't be popping out your titty, in the room with these men here. And I'm like,
Oh.
really? I'm just trying to feed my baby. I was like, I'm gonna go back here. And
And
I
why would
had
they
covers
even
and
looking
stuff.
at
But
me
why do you gotta tell me, oh, don't take that out? But you're right, Aisha. Why in the black community we sexualize feeding our babies?
feeding your
Like
child?
you just feeding the baby. That's what these boobs was really made for. They wasn't made for the men. They was made for the babies to feed them.
Surely, sure was.
Oh no, my ex, um, he was such a he wanted to taste it. I'm like, no, don't waste. You don't get any of
You
this.
ain't give them none. You ain't give them none.
I gave him some, but I told him we could make it a habit. This is for my baby.
Right? He trying to drink up the baby's milk.
Yeah,
I
that's the
always
baby
heard it's
supply.
sweet. They said the breast milk is sweet. Um,
Right.
did y'all taste y'all breast milk?
I did because you know that first batch you get that's kind of yellow and they're like it's the liquid gold. I'm like,
Yeah.
let
Like
me see what
buttermilk.
this.
Isn't it
Yeah,
like the colostrum? That's what
yeah.
Yeah.
it's called.
I felt so
Um.
proud of myself
Mhm.
being able to like nourish my child.
I was so proud of that too. Like, oh my goodness, not only did I grow this baby, but it was amazing to me how you could, like, I kept my son alive on
Mm.
only breast milk.
I'm
Like, the
breastfeeding.
first one, I supplemented, but the second one, it was straight breast milk.
Hmm.
So when you went to work, or if you guys were working, did they have areas set up so that you can pump?
Yes, every floor. It
Oh,
was
that's
like a
what
room,
job you worked at. Well, you worked at the hospital, right?
right? And you sit in a recliner, and those pumps were like faster than the at home pumps, so
And that
you could get it done real quick.
hospital pumps ain't no joke.
Right? They
Um,
squeeze the life out your nipple.
Hmm.
Oof, you be totally milked. No, I was so disappointed,
Really?
and I can't even speak on where I was working. However,
Mm-mm.
no, I was told to go in the bathroom, which I'm
Oh,
quite
that's
sure
so.
is illegal. But no, it wasn't. It was being shuffled over here and over there and over here and
Yeah,
over there, and it was really hard with the type of work I was doing at the time. But I was dedicated to breastfeeding my child, so I made it work.
that is so uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't think, if I recall right, they didn't have an area, but it was like two of us at the time, ironically, that was pregnant, and then we had our babies. So they made us like a room. They took like an office that nobody was using. It was a small office, and they made it into a room, a nursing room. Like, all jobs should have that. Like, you have women working at your place of employment. Like, you should provide this for us.
Right. They provide people with a cigarette break. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, come on now. And it was just so hard. Like they had me in one room and then there was another person who ended up breastfeeding at the same time. So we were both pumping. But I just remember how like it was so hard. Like I remember waking up because I had a crazy commute now here in this Atlanta metro area. And I just remember, ooh, excuse me. I just remember driving with my pump, like right here,
Oh my God.
driving. Yes, because
Driving pump? Oh,
sure
that's
did. I
funny.
used to hook them things right there and
Mhm.
be driving
Oh,
while I was
what isn't
pumping
it
in the
like the most
morning.
embarrassing thing when because like your pump schedule, right? So you'll be like out somewhere and be like, like I'm supposed to, and then like you'll get it'll come through your shirt. Sometimes if I'm
Mhm.
wearing out and I didn't have those little pads in there, it's
Hmm.
all in my shirt. I don't really miss that part.
Now, this is a beautiful that we're sharing this experience, but I have had women tell me that they didn't develop milk when they
Oh,
had
that's
their
something.
baby
Yeah.
and they were not able to breastfeed even if they wanted to.
Mhm.
Um, and and hey, all the ladies who don't choose not to breastfeed either, I mean that's okay too.
Right.
I just wish that it was more promoted in the black community and
Definitely.
not shamed as much. I think more people would do it if, it wasn't so sexualized in our community.
Right. And then oftentimes you have moms that's unable to, you can
Hmm.
say, like you have young mothers, you have single mothers. So then if she have to go back to work, so then it's like that's the end of that. Or you know what, I don't even want to get started because I know I'm gonna have to go back to work. I don't want to do the weaning process, so I'm just gonna put them out the bottle. So it's like when you're talking about a disadvantaged group, then there's so many different scenarios that fall into place. Also, why we're not breastfeeding. And like you said, it is not encouraged. I don't even think, I mean, it depends on the doctor. If your doctor is concerned for you, anyways, if
Hmm.
they ask you, like, what's your plan? What's your birthing plan? What's your plan? I'm like, are you going to breastfeed? Are you going to bottle feed? Here's the pros and the cons to both, etc. Like, I don't know if they're having those conversations, but it's definitely not encouraged, like you said, enough.
It's not. So that's some of the nice things about the new babies. What I would say is once one of the struggles with motherhood, especially when you have small children, is childcare.
Mm, child.
Um, that was something that I struggled with because I lived in different places away from my family. Excuse me. And I always struggled with finding, someone I could trust to keep my children. Like I didn't have like my mom there to keep my kid or family members. So I would have to, you know, like make friends and vet people in their homes or whatever to have them help me.
Mm,
At the time when my older son was young, like for a short stint, like I was staying at home with him or working like a little part-time job. And I have found these other women who were staying at home too, and we kind of decided to start trading babysitting.
mm,
Like that was one of the ways that I
mm,
got childcare. And then when I lived here, like I had some neighbors that I had got to know very well, and you know they helped me babysit. But mostly since I was here, I had to use daycare facilities. And with the pandemic that happened, it really affected me in a very negative way when it came to childcare. Like I found myself having to leave my job that I had at the time because the daycare shut down on me and I didn't have reputable childcare and someone to help me. What has been your experience with childcare and trying to work?
Um, I do not miss childcare. Childcare, um, like you said, it's like the whole process of finding someone that you like for one. Like when I had my youngest two, my two oldest, I mean, I was doing home care because I just felt like it's more personal. They only can watch so many kids. And I like that it's like they get a set of kids, and then your kid can kind of go there and grow up, like so to speak, there if they remain going there. So I would place them in home care. I think, and I know that these are children and it's a lot to take care of kids, but I think it's ridiculous how much childcare costs. Um, and that there's not enough resources for people who need it, especially lower income people who can't afford childcare, or you be in a predicament where you may just like you're right over the thing, so you can't get help to cover childcare, and then it's like no buffer program to maybe throw you $30. Here's $30 to help you with your child. No, it's like you got to pay all that out about it.
Mm.
So that
But
was obstacles I faced was like that whole deal with the child care.
my experience, it was I was fortunate enough. My daughter helped for quite a while. I think until my son was like 2, so he's probably been in daycare for like a little bit over a year. But we started out because I was initially trying to go with all black, black everything. So I went way out of my neighborhood and I found this woman, and she was new. So I was like, willing to work with her because she was still trying to figure things out. But what struck me was that um, she kept changing the prices. And I didn't like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm trying to stick with you, give you my money because you're my sister. You can't keep changing the prices, and we got this contract, and you want to do this and do that. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm driving 25 minutes out of my way. You know what? This is okay. So I
Mm-hmm.
took him to a daycare center, which was more like a school. It
Mm-hmm.
had like 250 kids there. But I kid you not, he was only there for 4 months, and he got sick every 2 weeks. So I took him out of that location, which was like literally down the street from my house, is walking distance. I found this home daycare, and the lady is wonderful. She does the Montessori technique, and he's learned so much. And I'm grateful. She's expensive because I spent $13,000 with her
Oh.
last year.
Mm.
Um, but it's worth it. So yes,
So she's
daycare.
like a private school then, sort of.
Oh yeah, and she speaks several different languages.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she's very good. They're very thorough. And what I like too is I have an app on my phone that I can just chime in and look at whatever they're doing at any time during the day or while he's there. And she has a special thing, like, so he goes Monday through Friday, but if I have something to do and I need to just drop him off for a couple hours and pick him back up, I can do that. But you pay extra, but it's still that thing. And so those other two schools or daycares, I couldn't leave him. Over here, he kisses me and closes the door. So I know that they're treating him well.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Well, when I
Yeah.
did childcare, I chose a facility because I just didn't know any reputable people that I felt comfortable with leaving my child in their home.
and that's the struggle you have with leaving your children, because these people are responsible, and you hear all those horror stories about the things that happen in daycares.
Mhm. It was like this really high end daycare here in the Atlanta metro area,
Yeah.
and this little girl died choking on a piece of cheese.
See what I'm talking about? No.
God.
It was
Mm-mm.
on the news and everything. So I mean that's also a thing that you worry about. I would say when you have younger children. I feel like as we're inching our way up, like we done left like birthing up to the child care, and then, you know, when kids become school age, it's like, unless you're still doing private school, you're finally like, yes, I no longer have to
Mhm.
pay for this.
That'd be the day.
I
I
think
have
I
arrived. I made it. Like I no longer have to pay. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
think I
still.
want my son to go to private school, but it won't be like a Catholic private school. It'll
Mhm.
just be, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a video. Let me see if I could pull this video up. Do y'all see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Oh, I recognize her.
You do? Do you follow her?
I don't know. I just feel like I've seen her videos before.
Through Black motherhood.
Let's see.
Black women, we can effectively talk about our health and healing journeys until we address the fact that many of us were forced unintentionally into motherhood. Let me expound on that thought. Many of us were shown only one way to be Black women, and that was through Black motherhood. This isn't for those who actively chose to become mothers. This is for those who felt that the only way that they could be validated as a Black woman was to marry and or have children. We can further expand on this topic by addressing how our unconscious expectations of motherhood have affected our ability to parent and to heal. I think that it's important in this conversation surrounding Black women's health and healing that we address how our collective expectations affect our individual decisions. Let's talk about how difficult it is to parent from a place of expectation versus a place of desire. To truly heal and achieve optimal health, specifically mental health, we must truly acknowledge all the facets and factors that affect our existence as Black women.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I think a lot of people do try to validate their womanhood through motherhood. But I definitely feel that becoming a mother, you can still validate your womanhood and not become a mother, and that and I'm saying that to all the women out there who chose not to have children, or all the women who were not able to have children. That does
Mm-hmm.
not validate you being a woman, bearing children. So I know that, I have heard some women say, I always wanted children, I wasn't able to conceive or have children. And it's hard for them to be around people who did have children,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah, I
know.
can imagine if it's probably hard around this holiday, knowing that it never happened for them. They'll never get a happy Mother's Day. They can in other ways, I think, though. If you are of service to people and you're a nurturer and you're taking care of people and you're providing people, I think you can still be. I don't know what I was searching on Google for this show, but it popped up in one of the things suggestions, and it was like other mothering. I guess that's a thing where it's like you might not directly be a mother, but you're doing mothering in other ways. So you can still get that happy Mother's Day to you. Um, but yeah, like you said, that doesn't validate your womanhood because you never had children or you can't have children. I think more so with the females or ladies who decide, you know what, it ain't for me. I watched y'all or whatever. I don't want no kids, right? And they just have no interest in having children. I think, if anything, from what I've seen, it was more of females with children who judged those who didn't want children. Like, I think they're completely comfortable and fine with that determination that they have come to determination that they don't want kids. I used to date this guy and his sister. I thought like she had it going on. Like I think like when was I like I was probably like 19, 20, and I used to just look up there. She was so cool. She didn't have no kids. She got to do whatever she wanted. She had her little Honda. I love that little blue Honda she had. She was just doing her thing. She had a nice apartment. And like I asked her one day, like, why she ain't never had kids, because she was a lot older than us. And she was just like, cause I knew that I didn't want to do like I only want to take care of myself. She said I knew that being the type of person in the lifestyle that I wanted, it did not include kids, and she was absolutely fine with that. So I just think it's just foreign to those of us who always wanted them and then have kids to look at females like that and be like, you have no desire, like your womb isn't throbbing. No, it isn't for them, and that's okay. Um, but what she said in that video that struck me was like the expectations, like outside expectations of what being a mother should be and how we try to live up to those expectations instead of just doing your own thing, and whatever works for you and how you parent your children is how you parent your children. But a lot of times we can be like get caught up in that or be over judgmental of other moms and yeah.
We definitely in our black community always, from Big Mama on down, is judging somebody's motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that girl, her child always over there with you. When she coming to get her child? Or and she's probably at work. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I don't know. It's just so much judgment when it comes to motherhood. But actually, you just do the best you can.
Pretty
Because
much.
nobody is perfect.
Nobody.
Hmm. So yeah, I think it comes with that comes with like trying to live up to those certain expectations, or you just know it's just this air. It's like nobody has to tell you. It's just like this is the do's and the don'ts of this is how you're supposed to raise them. If you have little girls, they are supposed to be done all the time. You can't have an off day. They supposed to be dressed nice and neat at all. First of all, when you have little kids, you know that's not gonna happen. Y'all trying to go somewhere and you trying to get everybody together and they supposed to be color coordinated, matched down to the socks and everything. That's not happening. That's what we gotta go. Like, let's go put I'm not arguing with you. Like, I'm not tussling. I've been stopped tussling with my kids when they was younger. Like, put this on. No, I want to wear it. I've been stopped. Like them temper tantrums, especially when they get to that little age where it's like they're trying to assert them little selves and this is what I want to wear and no, you can't have it. I am not tussling with no child. So
I
it's a
just
lot.
had a tussle
I
today.
stop. He be killing me when I be here. It's a lot of things I had to
Uh,
stop doing because I'm not arguing with no kid, no baby. I'm not. I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose.
well, I had to argue today because he don't like to leave the park,
Oh.
you know, and he embarrasses me every time we leave the park. I got to drag this child to the car. And everybody's looking like,
To
oh my
go.
God. I'm like, why you can't just lay like the other kids? Like, come on, we come back another day. Ah, just, oh my God. I'm telling you, my older son, I never had no problems. Like, we could
To
leave
leave,
places,
but
we could
you
go
go
everywhere with
everywhere.
him.
Mhm.
I, we got an echo going on.
Oh, well, I think that was that other screen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, yeah, kids they start trying to assert themselves, but I don't know what this stage is right now with him, 4 years old. I mean, they learn bad behavior from other kids. Like
Mhm.
he go to preschool and then he come back with something new, and
Mhm.
the teacher's like, "Oh well, little Billy does this, and we're gonna remove him from there." I'm like, "Yeah, please do," because we don't do that at home. So
Yeah, but I definitely think whatever works for you, that's what you do because you know your kid, and y'all once you're raising this baby from the time that they little newborns, like it's this bond that's formed between y'all. That's your child. So for us to want to take on and listen to what other people are trying to tell you to do with your child and your child, y'all got this going on. Like, don't let other people raise your children for you. And it's also the shame I feel. It's the shame, like the shame to come out or tell people like if you're struggling, like that's our thing. Like you're not gonna let it as a mom, I think in general overall, but you're not going to let nobody know when you're struggling with your like being a mother because it's like that's a bad like I need a break. I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed. I need these kids out my house. Can you help? Like that, no. We're not doing that.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people don't like to admit that, but they should,
Mhm.
especially when always checking on you when your baby's younger to see if you got postpartum and stuff
Oh
like
yes.
that. But as you get older, you can still be overwhelmed with children.
Mhm.
Like I see these women out here with like 5 and 6 kids, and I'm like, ooh,
That's
I don't know
overwhelming.
how you do that.
But
I
don't say
mean,
don't say that because see,
I
it's
know, I know. You go that you saw a picture. Look at me. I said it. That's a lot for
that
me in
is
this day and age. So
that's a lot.
expensive, and I just feel like back in the day, us women could have that amount of kids and we could stay home.
Mhm.
Like nowadays, like it's all this pressure, not only that you're a mother, but it's like this pressure on you to like have something going for yourself money wise as well as women.
Mhm.
You know, like some kind of career, some kind of job. And it's hard to balance that because we don't, most women, and I'm not generalizing.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, I can speak more about my experience and some of the experiences that I see of other women who are working mothers.
Mhm.
They work, then they come home, and then tend to the children, cook dinner,
Mhm.
do all this domestic stuff on top of facing the world.
Mhm.
Oh no, not me.
Every day. He should say, I ain't doing that. But yeah, every day. That's a lot. It's a lot.
I
It's
mean,
exhausting.
unless you got some husband at home, home cooking, like, I mean,
Well,
I don't know. It's still a
I
lot
don't
of
know. I
pressure.
think it has a lot to do with like the setup, and I'm a planner. I always like even today or like tomorrow, I have a plan of what I'm gonna do. Let's
Mhm.
say I'm gonna work like 3 12s in a row. I'm gonna make some food the before, and that's what y'all gonna eat. If you don't want to eat, that's your problem. But that's what we're gonna do
Period.
because when I come home, I'm gonna relax. I probably got 3 hours where I can be up work before I have to go to bed, but you're not gonna mess with my downtime like that,
That
you know.
I was just reading a post, and the girl, now for one, this came from a lady. She don't have kids, but it still was an interesting post. Let me see if I can find that post. But it was like about boundaries, real like it was about boundaries. It was, but I don't think if people took it too well. Cause like she said she ain't have kids. Like why is it that like why I'm trying to find this post, why is it that like we feel like a lot of times mothers feel like you can't tell me how to raise these kids because you ain't got no kids. Cause I mean
Yeah, we do feel like that.
they used
But
to
sometimes we got to be open because our minds are set in the tone of being the mom when sometimes we don't have to take advice from everything from the outside, but the woman has a point. They have to have boundaries. We are creating them to be um independent young adults in a sense as well, and it's relieving us of whatever our work day has been. I work outside of home, so you deal with individuals and their temperaments, plus your workload, plus traffic, plus this and that. We gonna it's gonna be chill in here when I come home. We got a system of setup. It's still gonna be love,
Mhm.
but the days mommy work, we're gonna just like not do too much. We're gonna eat. We're gonna chill. We're gonna hang out.
Right.
And there is nothing wrong with every man for themselves. Listen,
Oh, yeah, we have those
I
days.
will designate every man for themselves in a minute. Listen, it's every man for themselves today. You better figure out what you eating.
What you doing?
I ain't
Figure
cooking
out what you
nothing.
want to do.
And
Figure it out.
I don't feel bad about that because you know what I know is about like, my teenage son. You don't want me to be happy. I'm like, it's like they just forget you even a person. Like when you a mother sometimes, like what about if I need to sit down and kick my feet up for a minute or like right now, we talking on this podcast, I had to pop me in a halls because I'm like, ooh, feel like I got a little cough coming on or something. And I'm just like, we just like you gotta take time for yourself. And I don't know, some moms I think out here feel bad for taking time for themselves, but we cannot do it all.
That is the guilt. You will get burnt out. You get burnt out. You get burnt out trying to do everything. It's tiring. You be tired. You be fed up. And then that affects your mood. So then you're cranky and people are like, what's wrong with you? And then you just snap like, what you mean? What's wrong? Like you just get burnt out. Like we need a break, a reset. But yeah, I definitely think first of all, making a routine is key. Like I'm sorry, and I don't like this. It is gonna be like a little bit judgy, but I never liked like when I would know some people go over some people's house and their kids is up at like 1, 2, 3, 4, 55, 6 o'clock in the morning. They just running around, and I'm just like, why ain't they in bed? I don't understand. Because my kids, they used to be in bed. Listen, one thing about it, I was gonna get my break, like by hook or by crook. Like, listen, it's 9 o'clock. As soon as the 8:59 hit, I'll be like, yep, head upstairs. It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock in the bed. Good night. See y'all later. Good night. I don't care what y'all do. Go in the room. Good night. They older now,
Mhm.
so they get a little bit of more time. But yeah, I used to have that routine down, baby. When they was young, especially that routine used to be ironclad. 9 o'clock, get your bath, get your shower, get your butt in the bed. I don't want to see your face until the morning because it's my time in the evening. I'm about to sit in this living room and relax without hearing mom, mommy, mom all night.
Right. The kitchen is closed. Go
Yes,
to
the
bed.
kitchen. Oh, and I have one of those in my house. The little, like, is always she always hungry. She stay in my refrigerator all the time. What did you do? What did you get? You just ate. She'll come home and eat, like from school and eat. Now I know schools be starving because schools will have lunch like real early, some odd hour, like
Mhm.
12:30 they ate lunch, and then you expect them to survive all the way until they get
Right
home.
at 10:45 they ate lunch. Like that's breakfast.
That's early for lunch. So I understand you get and you want she'll eat like once, hour later, another one to like just keep on going in my no, ma'am, no. And now that
Yeah.
they are older, I have mothering hours. I call them mothering hours. And it's like my office hours are from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Mm.
After 9 p.m., do not, and if I'm in my room, don't knock on my door. Don't say the word mother, mommy, mom, ma until the next morning at 8 a.m.
Oh, you
My
got
mothering
them. They
hours,
know to
my
do it.
mothering hours, and like if one, I'll see them coming. One of them coming. My mothering hours. You missed the clock. You gonna have to catch me in the morning.
I know that's right.
I pass my hours, but you know what though, especially with my older kids, especially with my teenager, okay? Because like now these kids these days they're and I do love that. Again, I think we touched on this before. I love that they're so aware and they're so conscious of what they need mentally and their self-care
Girl,
and
oh,
health
they be
and all
killing
that
me
stuff,
with that.
right? So I do love that they recognize that. And so they're so big on their boundaries. So that is why I created mine. Like y'all are so big on like you can't just be busting in my room door like that. Like, can you knock on what you then you need you can't be doing okay. If you want me to respect that, then y'all can respect the few things that I ask.
Now that we on teenagers, them some different creatures, boy. They not like cute no more. Like they got all of this like new school stuff in their head. Of course, we can't parent them like we used to get it back in the day. You got to be all respectful of everything that they want, and it's just different. They're To me, I feel like yes, they're self aware, but it's almost like how do you really parent these kids at this age when they're teenagers? Like you would hope that you have instilled certain things in them by that point because then they decided they have a mind of their own.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right.
I'm experiencing a teenager, for the first time, and it has been challenging. Like just trying to talk to him. He's no longer my little baby, right? So I can't talk to him like that. I definitely won't be busting in his room at that age because I don't want to walk in on nothing. And it's hard to connect with your teenagers. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's different, because you have girls, but like for me, it's like my boy, it has become harder to kind of understand what he's going through.
Uh,
And maybe, hmm go ahead, Aisha, help me out, girl.
I'm sorry. No, that wasn't for you.
Oh, I'm just like, I mean, teenagers are more challenging. Like, they have so many more, they have a lot of different things going on right now. Like,
Mhm.
you know, with puberty, sexuality is so open now and different, and kids are
Fluent.
fluid,
Mhm.
and it's just different. Like, it really is different in that scenario. Like, like, I mean, the whole being fluid and all this different stuff, it just really wasn't that open of a thing
No.
back when we were growing up. So,
You
like,
guys think
now,
that was pushed upon us, though?
Um,
yes, yes, they are different beasts, and you do have to be creative in parenting them. And you do have to pick your battles, because some stuff you just be like, okay, well, if you want to sit up in your room with your headphones on for a month, you know what? Long as you wash these dishes, I don't even care. You really do.
um, no, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know I hear people saying that it's an agenda and things were pushed on us and all that stuff, but I try to be open minded because I am
Me
like a
too.
very open minded person. And I don't want to say, I do see the points where people feel that way, but I don't personally think per se it's purposely being pushed on us. But I feel like us in this scenario, right? Us being like hetero and us being the majority in this scenario, we can't see it from their perspective. And it's kind of like how we always feel about the others, those palm colored people, and how you can talk to them until your face turns blue, and they are just never going to be able to get our experience because it's not theirs to get. So that's where I kind of get that from, and I just stay in my lane. I feel like this it been existed.
Yeah.
It been around. It been a thing. And some countries overseas and whatnot. Like I think India is one of them. They been had all different genders and sexualities and stuff over there. That been a thing. So they're completely it's normalcy in
Forward.
they,
Okay.
I mean,
so I don't have no
I think the kids are able to now, I think a lot more people live in their truth.
mm,
Um, I think that back when we were growing up, like, people who I felt was interested in the same sex or whatever couldn't really be open with who they were. Like, we kind of knew,
mm,
now that we're adults, like, I'm like, I knew. And they live in their truth now. But what I'm saying is, these kids now, it's just a whole different mindset. Like, this is the norm for them. Like, back in our day, and I don't really want to get too deep into this because people get so
mm,
sensitive about this topic. However, you know, I learned that, you know, girls and guys, like the younger generation, they're okay with bouncing back and forth between each other and being fluid and whatever, and you can bounce back. Like, back in our day, like, if you heard a guy did that, he was
mm.
always like that.
Yeah, it's just,
You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like, nah.
right.
But now it's like, oh, he did that then, but now he's this, and it's fine.
Mm,
And so I was just like, wow, it's just different. It's different, and it's different. Dealing and talking with your children and just kind of trying to stay involved in what they're involved in. They definitely are able to express themselves freely now, whereas back then, they people were not able to express themselves freely. So, do I think that it was pushed upon people and that more people are doing this because it's a trend or something? No, I think people always wanted this or wanted to act upon that, but society made it so taboo, or it was such a stigma with it, that they were not able to live in their truth. But what I find now is, with these teenagers, they living in their truth, and they just being very
yeah.
vocal about everything.
Hmm.
Teenagers and young adults. That's one thing that I do admire about young adults and these newer young adults and teens is because they have a certain freedom to be more, like she said, free and more expressive, and it be accepted when that just wasn't okay for us to do.
But I do worry about their generation because I feel as if they have lived their whole life in violence and chaos in society.
Mm.
And, you know, if it's not a school shooting, then it's some war going on. If it's not a war going on, it's like some major catastrophic pandemic who's
COVID.
killing people. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's
Mm.
these kids haven't truly been able to be kids. And I just wonder what they're going to be like when they are adults. Will they have trauma forever behind all of the things that have happened in this world? We were able to be kids. We were able to play jump rope, double dutch, hopscotch. Like we didn't have to worry about all the things they were. Now they worry about like, should you buy your child a bulletproof backpack because somebody might shoot up the school?
Oh,
Mm-mm.
It's
geez.
sick. It's sick and sad. It's really sad.
I don't know. I don't know. I just know like oh, getting back to like the differences between the boys and the girls. I know it like I did say I wanted to have a boy, but it would just be so scary. I don't know how that feels to be a boy mom because I would just feel like terrified, like you said, with the state of everything that happened over the past years. And then, we got the say their name hashtag for a reason, Black Lives Matter, y'all black sons, we gotta say in spite of like even though it's like the boys, they get sent out there, police feel threatened, something might happen. As a black mother in general, there's so much that we have to
Worry
worry
about.
about, right? Worry
Worry.
about that other women of other races will never have to freaking worry about. It's like you have to prepare your child, literally prepare your child to go and face the world, knowing that the world is going to view them in this way and how to handle that and how to deal with that because you're going to get hit with racism at some point. At some point, you might get hit over here by colorism on the head at some point. At some point, you might go and get this job and know that you didn't get it because of who you are. How do you handle that? What the emotions going to be? How do you deal with it? Like we have to equip our kids to go out there in a different environment, and that's challenging. And so it's like a different type of stressor added on to the fact that we're already black in America.
Yes, and I think one of the other things is like having a black son, like you look at him, like I look at my sons and I'm just like, I can pour all the life into you that I can try my very best. But what is the world going to do to you? Then it becomes out of your control. And it's not just black boys or men now. They're doing this happening to black women. We got hashtags for black women now. Oh, don't be too aggressive as a woman with the police either now.
Mhm.
Stand your
You have,
ground.
yeah. It's just so when I look at these kids and them coming, especially our teenagers and stuff, I just look like, oh man, what does society have in store for you all? And I love this comment in the comments. I wish we had the freedom to express ourselves with our parents and any adult in any environment. Maybe society would be a lot different. Yeah, maybe it would be. I mean, now I'm telling you, these kids gonna make you listen to them.
Mhm.
Well, when I was in school, I heard this and let me tell you, when you talk to me, it makes me feel like this, and it's just like, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
for a minute, I was sitting here like, gosh, these kids are so soft these days. Like, my goodness, like you guys couldn't have survived what we went through. But then it's like, maybe they are more self aware, but I almost feel like they're caught up in this fairness of society that doesn't exist.
Mm. I don't
Do you
know.
feel like that? Do you feel like sometimes a teenager like, well, we should be doing this and we should be doing that? And I'm like, well, maybe that will be what your reality and your world will be in the future. But for right now, like, some of the same old stuff is happening.
Mhm. I feel like yeah, that's the fairness of it because I don't think for me, I don't think it's like I that's the word I would use is like they're caught up in the fear because shit, life ain't fair. Like they should know that. Like you can't always get what you want in life, but it's like they are very defiant and you not going to box them in or tell them what to do or like certain things they're adamant on, like you have to let them be them. Like I think like my style of parent, like how I just see parenthood in general is just like when they're kids, they need you. And it is your job to nurture and nourish and raise this child and, you know, encourage them to take that first step and to do this and to do that and like to trust them enough to fall back when you need to fall back and just, okay, you know what, I'm gonna let you get it, you got it, you know, stuff. And I feel like as they start to grow and now they're like you said, he's this teenager. I have my teenager and they're starting to enter into discovering who they are as people because they're supposed to be young adults soon. Like she got
Mhm.
homegirl got 4, 5 more years and they're about to be young adults. So it's like, you know, when we were teenagers, you're exploring yourself, you're exploring it, you're exploring relationships. Just like little kids when your son Aisha he's like being Mr. Daredevil, like testing the waters to see what I can get away with and what I can't. It's like now they're teenagers and they're stepping into their adulthood, so to speak. He's stepping into his manhood. And so I know that's like with living with mom, that's a whole different vibe. Like because he's trying to assert himself as a man. Like I am a man. And men are always gonna come equipped with certain things, the ego and the pride and the this. So it's like with boys, and you know, I be trying to tell, you know, people this that have sons too, but boys, you gotta be like really mindful of what you say as a woman saying it to a boy. Like you gotta watch your words with them because it's like they will take that and it could they'll internalize it in a way that's like Aisha was talking about how they say, oh, we emasculate or we do this to our son. Like they're just a different. I was having this conversation yesterday, and I feel like somebody had asked, "Do you feel like men are more sensitive than girls?" And I feel like absolutely.
Yeah,
Say
I would
one
agree.
thing, you can
They
say
are.
one thing, and that ego is broken. It's broken. With girls, you have to kind of let them you just gotta let them go through their interactions in life and learn their lessons. Like girls with the friend group, and I'm like, you know, you might see certain things and be like, you know what, you gotta let them catch that L and learn. And
Look at the comments, Aya. Boys will shut down and shut you out. And
yeah.
that is the truth. If they see mom as and you don't understand me, they just won't talk to you no more. Period. Just like that man who stopped calling you, or just like that like a husband or a man that
Hmm.
you done cuss him out so much and he's at the point where he just shut down on you. Your boys will do the same thing to you, and you will look at him and it's like almost amazing. It's almost like you having this relationship with them too.
I swear, because I could use a tone, and it would hurt my son's feelings so
Hmm.
hard. It'll stop him in his tracks. And I apologized. I was like, "Look, mommy was upset and frustrated, but I don't want you." And we talk about what I don't want him to do. So I still try to be firm to let him know, well, this is not what is good, and I'm sorry. I still love you. That was just mommy being upset in that moment. And we hug and kiss because he doesn't. He's the type of kid, he doesn't want me to be angry with him. So,
Oh.
Well, at a certain
but
age, your boys start to idolize their father. Like, I've had that situation, especially, if you end up in a broken home, like, where, you divorce or something like that. I have noticed that when how they always say, like, women, you can't really teach a boy how to be a man. Like, you really can't. And like,
mm-mm,
when they get to a certain age, it's like they look down at you like you a woman, like almost like they sunning you, like it's
They
like
are
they see you as a woman now.
They are. It's that male privilege that. Well, anyways, black men think they don't
Patriarchy.
got. Yeah, it's
I don't know
patriarchy.
what it is,
It's
but
that
it's
privilege.
hurtful when
They
it
all have it.
happens. It
Yeah.
hurt because it's like then you realize like, wow, this will always be my baby. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in the comments, after a certain age, we are done nurturing, and then it's like they become they're blossoming into this man. So if they do have a dad or whoever, that is good, bad, or indifference, or whatever that man is, that's what they going towards. It don't matter what mommy say no more.
Yeah, but yeah,
Whew,
that's what I
that's
was
scary.
making
It
that point to
is.
say. Like when you're, I think when you're a mom with the younger ones, it is maybe a lot easier because they need you, they love on you. You can kind of mold them. Then that is your time. All y'all,
Right.
the young kids, that is your time to really implement and mold when they're younger, because then
Foundation,
at a certain
baby.
age, the
But my
foundation.
thing is, even when you do that, though, it's like when they get to a certain age, they
They
see you
still
as a
don't have that
woman.
foundation. They
Right. That's what I was just gonna say.
they
They'll still
still
have.
don't have that foundation. Then when they transfer and they cross over that threshold to where you know what, you need to fall back, lady. I got this. I got it. I don't really need you like that, like I used to. Like okay, and now I feel like it's like my job is just the mentor. Like I am your advisor. So I know, y'all they have their own minds and they're trying to figure out who they're going to be out in the world. And you know what? My job now is to advise and to be the mentor. And that's how I look at it now. The young one, that's still, we still
And
here. But
but then at some point, like in the comments, she said they stray away from you, but then they come back.
They do.
Like there is a time where, like, even if you want to be a mentor to them, like I don't know, like, and I'm experiencing that with my son now. Like it's almost like they shut you out. Like you know
He'll
what
be
I'm
back
saying?
though.
And so I hope and pray, and I'm just gonna give them his space. Like you have to give them their space, like maybe to figure out their manhood,
mm,
and I know that when it comes to manhood and at the age he is, I can't even hate on the fact that now he feels he's gravitating more towards his father, because naturally you would think if I had a daughter, she would probably around that age want to gravitate more towards what I'm doing and me, to learn how to be a woman,
right.
you know? So, um, like in the comments, I just, it's hard when you have poured into this little boy, breastfed him from your body, and you birthed him. You remember you got these stretch marks to remember it, and
Oh,
and you have all these things, and it's almost, yes you do. you know um it almost feels like, oh my gosh, like you can't believe that now they look at you and they see just like, you always be their mother, right?
mhm,
But it's like they see you in all your imperfection or whatever it is that you are as a woman as well.
mhm,
And you just hope that you can model enough good behavior so that they don't hate women, and like, or the type of woman you are or whatever. But they always say men look for women that are like their mothers. So I mean, I don't know.
I
But
want to touch on something. What do you guys think are examples of emasculating your child, your son?
let me put.
well, screaming, you ain't never gonna be nothing, and you wasn't nothing like your daddy. You know how some women do that because they just so bitter and they hate the
Mhm.
child's father. That is definitely emasculating. Or how about coddling your son so much he knows how to do nothing as a man?
So
Okay.
the quote here, it says, this it's in this lady's book, I guess they're quoting it from. It says, while reading Patricia Hill Collins' Black Women in Motherhood, I realized that Black mothers have had to emasculate their sons and defeminize their daughters in order to ensure the survival of their children.
That
Mm,
that
So
has a.
I took that as when you look at our community, that's
Mhm.
how it kind of looks. It looks like we're the strong ones, we're the leaders, We're the providers, we're the caretakers. In most instances, we're the go-getters, we're the driven ones. We're out here working, we're taking care of the kids, paying the bill. We're doing all these roles, and we're under this trope of the strong Black woman, and we have to be independent Black women. You know, we're that's been fed into us and poured into us as the females, as the women, right? And then the men, they kind of got to slack off. Like they kind of just got to relax. I don't
But
know.
why did we have to emasculate our men? I think I kind of understand that
Maybe
statement.
because, you know, the fear that society has seeing a Black man, the police. Oh, I feared for
A-
my life. Oh,
Well,
he
yeah, we're
Actually,
like,
it,
listen, when the police come, put your head down. Put your hands on the steering wheel.
mhm.
Don't make no sudden movements. When you go into the workplace, don't be talking back to these white people. Keep it all inside. I mean, that
who
might
said
be the
that?
I'm just saying, like,
Oh
That's
we
shit!
how I
'Cause
took it
people
too.
have
I'm
said that.
talking back
I
because I'm
took it,
equal
I
or
took it,
better.
I took it that same way. Like it's like when they said it in that context that they had that this is what women felt they had to do. I took it as they wanted to soften up the man as much as possible so that when he goes and faces the world, whatever he's facing, he's not seen as a threat. He's not threatening.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
what
they
I'm
had
saying. Like,
hardened to
keep it.
toughen us up.
I forgot I was watching some kind of YouTube, or maybe I read something somewhere. That's actually in the Jim Crow book, how they broke down the Black family
Mhm.
to make the slave woman be strong and make the daughters independent and not really need the men. And that's how our families kind of were like that. Um, so I think it came from there and it just spread from generation to generation. But it's up to us to, like, turn it around to say, okay, I'm going to build a strong Black man. If we got a community of them, then, slowly but surely
Mm.
things change.
Yeah, this is a whole
But
different
how
topic
can
that
we
we
as mothers build a strong Black man?
I feel like I feel like
That's a hard question.
I feel
Cause I
like
got boys and I'm sitting here racking my brain like all I can tell him is how I would like him to treat a woman.
that is true. Like you can teach him all day, like y'all was saying. You can tell him this, open the car doors. You know, you should do this with a woman. Like everything, you should listen to a woman's
But he's gonna
when
look at what
she,
that man
you
do
know,
though.
blah blah
You
blah
could
blah.
talk to him,
But the
but he
thing
Well,
gonna
is,
look at what
some
that man
men,
do.
which man? Because you have the control to influence who he's around.
Uh, well,
Oh,
I'm just saying
well,
if
that's another
if
conversation.
yeah, that's another conversation.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, we
Okay.
had to have that conversation, by the way. But yeah, that's a good point that Rashonda brought up. But yeah, that we are
yeah,
gonna have another conversation that
this might need to have
y'all
like
get to shut
parts to
behind
it because this a lot.
on that thing. But
Part
yeah, I
two.
would definitely there's definitely those dynamics between the differences between raising girls and raising boys. But I think like I don't I don't subscribe to that. Mm-mm.
You don't subscribe to what? I'm sorry, I missed.
To
Yeah.
the defeminizing the girls
Right.
and stuff like that. No. Mm-mm. Yeah, no.
Yeah, like you gotta be, and you remember people, you gotta be a strong Black woman because you
Mm-hmm.
never know if that man gonna stay with you and them kids.
Mm-hmm.
You need to learn how to be independent. Like there was a whole thing going on with that in the Black community.
It was
Us
like
as
for
Black
your
women gotta
survival.
be.
I get it because that's what shown. That's what you had to do. So I get it. It was for our survival and why they did it, feeling like, you know what, this is for your own good. You know, I'm teaching you the right thing. Of course, you think that's the right thing to teach us because that is what you had to do. That's what it is, right? You had the guys that was going to lock up, getting locked up, and other ones running the streets. Basically, it was just like, yeah, allow boys to show their emotions. That
Yes, stop telling them don't you cry. Boys don't cry. You
boys
better man up, hitting them in
a lack
like
of
don't do
emotional
that.
intelligence.
Exactly, Rashonda. Yeah.
Be vulnerable. It is okay to be vulnerable
It
and to be
is.
emotionally available. Please, we need that. Like I'm still looking for. I want a man that has that. It's so far few and in
You remember
between.
when
Like
Michelle Obama, she did that speech, or she was talking somewhere, and she said that she was talking to Black women. She said, "Stop coddling your boys," and that's
I
what we
just said
do.
that.
Like, stop coddling them. Stop. And
Let
we
them
all
be
seen it.
men.
Stop coddling them. If he fall, he fall. He'll get back up. Let him cry.
Hmm.
Right.
He wants to
Right. You
show
gotta
his emotions. Let him show his emotions.
right.
Whatever they
Let
may.
him wash a dish and do his
Yeah.
own laundry
Let
and
him
learn
do
how to
it.
cook.
And you know what?
Baby,
Make
I got Lucas
sure
putting
your
in the laundry
boy,
right now,
boys,
pulling the laundry out.
make sure they take accountability or responsibility for the things they do.
Yes, and you know what? That's so what's so hard for us black women right now to let these men they where the submissive women at and they puffing their chest up and they want us
Mm,
to trust in them to lead us, but we so scared to let y'all lead us because it ain't turned out well in the past for our mamas.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I mean, I definitely think like women who are raising sons now, it's not like it's hopeless because we know that these problems, these are the issues. You know what? I think the majority of us are coming around, I will say. And we know that
Mhm.
these are the issues in our community, both on both ends, with the females being taught to be this hard, stern, hyper independent lady. And you go out there and you don't trust nobody. Like you take on the world and you be like, dang, my back hurt. Like I'm tired. Why I gotta
Right.
do all this by myself, right? Um,
Right. Give me a hug.
that we know those things and we're aware of it, like it's not too late to change the tide into like Aisha could raise her son could be like the most amazing human being. Like, so I don't want you to think it's hopeless that we can't have this in the future.
I mean, I don't think it's hopeless, but our culture within the black community is very damaged, and it's hard to pull us out of that because our young boys are now looking to these men that are damaged because of what they've been emasculated by not only their mothers, by the
Mm,
women that they had children with, and they just don't know their place anymore.
yeah.
That's what
That's
it
why
looks
it's
like to
so
me.
important for us to be, well, at this point, we're none of us are having any more children, but for the listeners, it's very important that we really look at the person we decide to have a child with because of the responsibility, not just for the mother, but for the father as well, to
Hmm.
be able to be healthy mentally, emotional human beings to grow this new child into the world. Because if one of us lacking, then the whole dang on, the responsibility is going to be on one side instead of equal responsibility.
You know what you made me think of, Aisha, when you said that of when you get married and they tell you you're not just marrying him or her, you marrying the family. You
Girl, shit.
marrying the family demons. You marrying the family problems. You
Hmm.
marrying that is ingrained in that person and is going to be ingrained and seeping into your new union and your seeds almost like a cancer. Into that's right, Rich, into the bloodline.
Yeah.
And when you were picking somebody, I know we haven't been looking at their family. You got to look at the families.
Hmm.
You got to look at who raised this man that you're about to deal with.
I swear, because
And we
I have
ain't think like that.
I feel like the pandemic made me so introspective. I was already that way, but
Hmm.
it was like to a deeper level that I have never like because I had so much alone time to
Hmm.
just
That's
go over all my actions throughout life.
Mm.
Because like for my son, I'm watching closely, but I feel like with his paternal side of the family, is a lot of mental illness. I mean, even though he grew up in foster care, he later had relationships, and these people, his brother stabbed his mother. you know,
Oh.
stuff like that, you know.
Mm,
It's a
mm-mm.
lot of deep things. And so you got to think about, okay, well, is this going to happen? At a certain age, do I have to look out for certain things, you know? And, well, my bad, but I'm going to trust it's really nurture versus nature. I'll see how it turns out. I'll let you guys know.
We gotta teach our kids that. Like, and I gotta think about that now that I'm dating or thinking about dating and people and stuff. Like, I didn't look at that when I was younger
Right.
with people. And you don't think, oh, who in the family was on drugs, or
Mhm.
who in the family was had mental illness, or and then a lot of times people try to hide them cray family members. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, at the wedding, here come Uncle so and so trying to
With
stab
blue
somebody.
eyeshadow.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a good thing. I'm so glad you brought that up, Aisha. I'm gonna start asking. So who's your mother? How's your mother? What's going on with
Yeah, I
your
was
where's
gonna say,
your
look at their
father?
mother.
Where is yes.
Mother.
Google is y'all best friend. If I would have Googled my ex, I would have like probably stepped back.
Her relationship.
Oh, not Google them. Y'all better Google them men out here. Listen, lady. Listen, Convo Queens. Do your research on these people before you have kids with them. Because you guess what? Once you have kids with them, then you just part of that forever. And so are your children, and that's their bloodline.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
And
see. Yeah, I wish I would have known that. Didn't y'all
me
see
too.
this? I really wish I would have. The more you know, y'all, the more you know.
When you
What does
know
it say? I
better,
can't
you
read it
do
right there.
better.
Yeah, I
I know
know.
that's too
I'm trying
little.
to
Zoom
blow
up
it
and
up. Let me see.
for us people who got glasses and can't see.
Can y'all see it?
Yes, it says young mom. No matter how many awards or accolades I get, the one thing that really is a judgment of me is what kind of mother I am.
Hmm.
Okay, that's a large note. And then the mature mom said, "It takes a village. I just do the best that I can, and I don't try to be superwoman. You just improve greatly because there's this little person who watches everything you do. Kids are a direct reflection of the best part of ourselves." Ooh,
So those are very. I think those are very different contrasts, actually.
that's like new
Um,
mommy versus about 3 kids later, mommy.
It's kind of what
yeah,
that other video you.
I think that is true because that's why that's like mature mom. Because it's
Mhm.
like the young mom. But no, because still, I feel like still some moms, that is their biggest fear. Like, like growing up, like, oh, y'all making me look bad. These people gonna be out here talking about me. And stuff. Like, it's like, but
Mhm.
now as a parent, I get it. I mean, my kids ain't, thank God, my kids ain't nothing like I was. But I get it now being a mom because it's like you just feel like they go out there and they do these knucklehead things, and it is a reflection on your mothering. Like you messed up, you see, you did something because this boy is out here, he's cutting up, he's acting a fool, and then like you just feel like, oh, it's my fault, I'm to blame. Like I'm a bad mother, and like I don't feel now. I feel like mature mom, and it's like you could do all the shaping and foundation building. They're going to do what they want to do. But hopefully, like I said, with that right foundation in place, they're gonna, they're gonna be okay.
I mean, there's been people who have instilled everything into their kids, put them in the best schools, raised them in church every Sunday, and gave them everything and had them in discipline, and they still end up in prison. I mean,
That's
people got
how
to make
close
their
I'm.
own choices
Mm-hmm.
at a certain point. Go ahead, Aisha. What you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say my oldest three siblings, my mom put them through private school, and then me and my younger sister, we went to public school. And my oldest brother is just like a career criminal.
People make their own choices at a certain point. That ain't no reflection on you. You
Mm-hmm.
Right,
just raise them the best you can, and at some point, they got to make their own choices in life.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
think as
mean,
moms, like, so we can wrap this up. Yeah, I think like as moms, like we do take things like it's your motherhood, like it's like a direct hit to your, I guess your mom ego. If somebody says something about your kid or call it out or something happens to them, you get in trouble or they get in trouble, I should say. But I mean, we should just, I think mothers should be more easier on themselves. Be
I'm
more easier on yourselves. Give yourselves a break. Don't be too hard on yourselves. Don't beat yourselves up. Like we all f up in that category and in that area. None of us is perfect.
I
Trial and
feel
error.
I feel like in this motherhood podcast, like we could go on and on, and we haven't
Mhm.
even scratched the surface.
And it's yeah,
Like
it's late.
I mean, and we haven't even scratched the surface because I mean, I feel like, you know, your mothering is a direct reflection of how you were mothered. And that's a whole nother podcast, okay? Because I'm saying if your mother was too strict or your mother wasn't this or that, like sometimes you try to do the opposite of what your mother did, or sometimes you find yourself doing the same thing. So that's something else that, you know, like could be a whole nother part two to motherhood because I feel like mothering is not just something that we're doing. We reference motherhood from somebody else as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
you
because you
know.
gotta learn. You gotta model it from somebody. So yeah.
Mhm. But and then oh, before we go, I definitely want you to, you know, just touch on quickly about, you know, what you were saying, you know, with the ones who may be feeling a little, you know, down and out.
Oh yeah, because we are Mother's Day is upon us. I still don't really know what I'm gonna do really on Sunday. But Mother's Day is upon us, y'all. So it's like two groups of women three groups, really, many groups of women probably that we should keep in mind when you see people celebrating online and social media. You have, like you was mentioning earlier in the podcast, you have females who desperately want to have children, and it might be hard for them this time of year. Who may have lost a child, and it may be hard for them this time of year. You have
Mhm.
mothers who, I mean, not mothers, but you have females who don't have good relationships with their moms. I
Mhm.
know a few friends that don't have the best relationship with their mother. Like, I mind my business. I used to be one of the people, like, be like, oh, you only get one mom, and oh, don't do that. But you know what? You don't know nobody's history. You don't know that relationship between them. And just because you may have a good relationship with your mother doesn't mean that she has to. That's
And
her.
everybody's not a good mother.
Right, that's her feelings about it. You can't tell, "Oh, it's Mother's Day,
Mhm.
you should call your mother." You should know. Maybe she feel like I keep her at a distance. I have my boundaries, and I'm cool with that. But I have to keep in mind all of these different groups of women exist around this time of year. It's kind of, and we're in the mental health. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So,
And just to add, because you forgot one group, Aya,
mhm,
the women out there who have lost their mothers.
mhm.
Right.
So you have all these different groups of women who may be all feeling different internal things. And so when we're making our Mother's Day shout outs and our posts and stuff, or if you see certain things, just be aware, like you might see somebody and she's having an awful day and she decided to vent for some reason. She's venting about, let her vent. Don't go. I don't like when I see people going, oh, like go under their post and like mind your business. Don't go under somebody post and tell them how they need to feel about this day, especially. Let them have it and have their feelings to however they want to feel. If you lost a mother, I did look up some tips that will help you hopefully get through this Mother's Day without your mom. And of course, it goes without saying, allow yourself to feel without feeling judgment for what you're feeling. Just let your emotions flow. Allow yourself to feel what you're going to feel. Vent your feelings out in a healthy way. Don't be afraid to cry. Maybe call someone up, share stories about your mom with someone else.
Mhm.
Like, hey, can you tell me this about my mom? Or when you and my mom was growing up, if it's an aunt or uncle or someone that's close to your mother, um, do something. Make a new tradition with yourself and your siblings to do for your mother. Go visit the gravesite. Keep yourself busy. If you feel like altogether, I don't want to participate in this day, do something else. Make it a new day for you. But whatever you do, don't come down too hard on yourself. It's okay.
It's okay. Because you know what? Your mom will always live through your memories.
Mhm.
And share that with your family or share it with your children if you have them. Share with your nieces, your nephews. People live on through the people that they left behind.
My mama with me right now.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, ladies, no
Yes.
matter how you choose to spend, Convo Queens, however you choose to spend your Mother's Day, I just hope that it is special to you. And if you one of them mothers who be like, I don't believe in no Mother's Day because every day I do what I need to do, shout
Right.
out to you too. You know? So I just feel like being a mother is truly a gift. And sometimes it can be a burden. But in the end, we all hope to raise healthy, productive people into this society. And as long as you do the best you can, that's enough.
That's exactly. Happy Mother's Day, lovely ladies. Convo
Yes.
Queen.
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
I mean, I think that was the perfect send off. Unless Aisha, you got any last words before we end this thing here?
Hey,
Oh,
I'm proud of you. Every day you try to do your best. It's it's good for us.
All right, you guys. Until next time.
we love y'all so much. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to support Honey Lush Naturals. Get your scrubs and all that good stuff.
Woo
Don't
woo.
forget to support Pure Sun Kissed and get you some moisture for your hair and some beard oil for your man. Listen, ladies, enjoy your Mother's Day. We love you so much. And we are here to support you in this tribe, in this village of supporting each other.
Later.
Good
Bye.
night.